All right, let's dive in. We're tackling the 2024 election today.
Big one.
It is. Trying to figure out just what happened. How did Donald Trump end up winning?
Yeah.
You guys gave me a ton of sources on this. Economic data, energy policies, immigration numbers. It's a lot.
It's like a mosaic, you know? At first, it's just a bunch of colorful tiles, kind of chaotic.
Right.
But when you start looking closer at each little piece,
Yeah.
you see the bigger picture, the pattern emerges.
Okay, I like that. A mosaic.
That's what we're going to do.
Connect those pieces.
Exactly. See what picture we get.
Okay, well, let's start with a big one, the economy.
Makes sense.
Everyone was talking about inflation, how it might have swayed voters.
Right.
And one source pointed out this huge difference in inflation rates between Trump and Biden.
Go on.
So during Trump's presidency, it was pretty steady, between 1.2 and 2.4%.
Okay.
But then under Biden, it jumped way up, hit 8% in 2022.
That's a big jump.
It is. So what happened?
Well, it's complicated, but policy definitely plays a role, you know? Biden came in at a tough time. Pandemic had messed up global supply chains.
Right.
Shortages everywhere, prices going up.
Yeah.
Plus, those massive stimulus packages they passed to help the economy, some argue those actually made inflation worse.
Interesting. So it's not like one president was just magically better for the economy.
Exactly. Bigger forces at play.
But still, 8% inflation, that must hit people hard.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine your grocery bill going up by almost 10%.
Ooh.
Or filling up your gas tank, and it's way more than you're used to.
Yeah, no one likes that.
That kind of economic pinch, it impacts people's lives for sure. And yeah, that can definitely affect how they vote.
And speaking of gas prices, one source brought up that crazy time when the national average hit $4.33 a gallon.
March 2022.
Yeah, March 2022. Everyone was feeling it, and they linked those high prices to Biden's energy policies.
This is where it gets tricky.
Yeah.
So the source lays out this timeline of Biden's actions on energy. First day in office, he cancels the permit for the Keystone XL pipeline. That would brought oil down from Canada.
Right, I remember that.
The people who supported that pipeline, they said it would have created jobs, made America more energy independent.
Right.
And then remember when Biden asked OPEC to increase oil production?
Oh, yeah, to try to bring gas prices down?
Exactly. And I remember thinking, why are we relying on other countries for oil when we have our own resources?
Right. It was kind of strange. OPEC, they're this powerful group of oil-producing nations.
Right.
They control a huge chunk of the world's oil reserves. They can really impact supply and demand.
So asking them for help.
Yeah, it kind of looked like the U.S. wasn't focusing on producing our own energy.
And I bet that didn't sit well with people already worried about gas prices.
Not at all. It's like saying, we won't use our own resources, but we'll ask other countries to bail us out.
Not a good look.
And remember, this is all happening while inflation is soaring. People are already stressed about money. So it's understandable that voters were looking for answers, for someone to get things under control.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got economic anxiety, maybe fueled by some of those energy policy decisions.
Right.
But let's move on to another big topic, immigration.
Another big one, yeah.
This source had a pretty shocking stat. Nearly 11 million unauthorized encounters at the border between 2019 and 2024.
Wow.
That's a huge number. What does that actually mean, though? Border encounter.
So that's a broad term. It includes apprehensions, people caught trying to cross illegally.
Okay.
Then there's inadmissibles, those who aren't allowed in at official ports of entry.
Got it.
And then expulsions. A lot of those were related to Title 42.
Title 42. That rings a bell.
It was this public health order they used during the pandemic.
Oh, right.
It let border officials quickly expel migrants, even asylum seekers, without letting them ask for protection.
I remember that was controversial.
Very, but the Biden administration kept it going for a while.
Okay, so these encounters, it's not just people sneaking across the border in the dark.
Yeah. Nope. All sorts of situations.
And this source said, when Title 42 was finally lifted in May 2023.
Big surge in encounters.
So that policy shift had a real impact.
Definitely.
Did the source say anything about who these people were, the demographics? I feel like that matters.
They did. They said over 80% were Latin American citizens.
Okay.
Now, we got to be careful here. We can't make assumptions about whole groups of people.
Of course.
But statistically, that's part of the picture.
Right. It's not about judging. It's about understanding the
Very
information.
good say.
And that number, 11 million encounters, that's significant. And knowing where they're coming from, that adds another layer.
For sure.
Take away from all of this.
I think it's about being informed. about really engaging with these issues.
Okay.
Don't just take things at face value. Don't believe everything you see on social media or on the news.
Do your own research?
Exactly. Find different sources, challenge your own biases, talk to people who disagree with you.
That's so important. It's easy to just stay in our own little bubbles.
It is, but real understanding comes from getting outside those bubbles, from embracing the complexity.
I think that's a great place to leave it. We've given everyone a lot to think about.
We have. It's been a fascinating look at the 2024 election.
And to our listeners, we'll leave you with this final thought. As you keep learning about this election, what other questions come up? What else are you curious about?
Keep digging, keep asking questions, keep trying to understand the world around you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.